the committee rationale, what do you think is the most important thing when that committee gets together and they start to look at everybody's body of work? What is and what should be the number one thing they look at?
I think it's resume, Dan, and I think it should be resume. I don't want a committee that goes in there and watches film and says, well, the way their inside zone blocking is, they should be able to beat Clemson. I don't want them to predict who's going to win a matchup. I want them to look at the resumes, what they've done, and yes, you can use eye test as far as who has played the best and impressed you the most, but I want them to pick the 4 best teams based on what they have actually seen them do as opposed to predicting what they might do in a playoff.
Did they do that with the latest rankings?
I believe so. It's a little bit scary to me because I have poked a lot of fun at the committee, but my 1 through 8 is the exact same as their 1 through 8 in order.
I guess we're trying to figure out and I know it's a reality show. Like I brace for a reality show here. It's just like the NCAA tournament. They somehow get a coach who's facing the school that he used to coach at, but they didn't plan it that way. It just would always happen that, somehow that would happen, and that's why I look at this. It's only 4 schools, but are we looking at how Ohio State plays nationally, or do you have Lamar Jackson and Louisville in there? Are they big enough? Do we want to see a Heisman Trophy winner? Does that factor in at all with human beings picking out these 4 schools?
Well, it's interesting because, as you mentioned, the reality show part of it, I think, is what we go through in November, where it's just like, hey, let's throw Texas A&M in there. That would be kind of fun. It's all just screwing around the first few weeks because none of it matters, which is why I'm not a big fan of the weekly show, because they're basically yanking the chains of various overly emotional football fans here with their rankings.
True.
Then when the rubber hits the road at the end, maybe that is the case. Ohio State getting in over TCU and Baylor that first year. Certainly, who had more appeal? Who was the bigger draw?
Ohio State.
Does Lamar Jackson carry weight? If it comes down to an either or at the end of this thing, if you're looking to break a theoretical tie for 4th, does having the presumptive Heisman Trophy winner and the most exciting player people have seen in a few years carry the day? I don't know, but I would bet that it's at least discussed. I think it should at least be discussed, and if the need be shot down, but fine, but at least talk about it.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.